All right. Hello, everyone out there. Hope everyone's doing well on this Saturday. Beautiful Saturday afternoon. Thanks for joining the Reseller Rewind. Let's kind of talk about the week in reselling. Hey, how's it going, Nikki and Val? Link is in the chat if y'all would like to pop on, or anyone else. Haven't seen Nikki in a while. There's Val. I know she's been working on cleaning out the she shed. Mine hasn't started. What hasn't started, Nikki? All right, and there's the link. All right, I'm a little tired today, to be honest. Like today, my main focus was to. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, if you follow me, you kind of know I'm all over. Right. My latest thing is I'm focusing on shoes and clothing, listing and volume, getting things cranked out, and so I'm trying to get my listings up. Like for the week, I'm at 92. Which is a record for me. My old record was 50. And I had some old storage unit stuff, which I really don't want to focus on that anymore. So I finished listing what was listable. I had some old Bibles, some old hymnals that were worth some pretty decent money. I got listed out today. What's going on, David? Found an old car phone. That was actually yesterday. I sent that picture to Val and Clay. Like this 90s car phone in a bag, Motorola with the original bag, the original paperwork. I think I listed it at like, I don't know, either 149 or 199, I forget, because it had all the stuff. So I got all that stuff listed. My car is loaded up with stuff that I'm not going to list. I'm going to donate at a local thrift store. And I also ordered the big 7-foot clothing box. And I was talking to Val about this one, the one that Chris, aka Daily Refinement, uses. Because my whole thing is I want to get where I'm listing like 50 pieces of clothing or shoes per day at least. And I want to get that here as soon as I can. And what I was doing was I was taking my ring lights, and because I don't have a dedicated spot for clothing, I was taking my ring lights, my photography paper, and setting that up on my kitchen table, which is like 6x6. And it was taking me like 15, 20 minutes to set it up, minutes to take it down. And even with like 4 different ring lights and some natural light, the quality of the pictures just wasn't that great. And I just wasn't that pleased with it. So thinking about the time I'm wasting on that each day, I'm like, well, it's better to invest some money in this light box, which has, it's 7 feet tall. I think it's 4 feet wide, which I do have a spot for it now. It's nice and clean beside me here. And I'm gonna put clothing on a hanger. And here's the other thing. This is like talking to Chris in Tech and Sports. I'm members of both of their groups. Chris's Patreon group and Tech and Sports Facebook group. So I bought this Canon T6i a long time ago. And the truth is, like, phones take, most phones will take good pictures. But the thing is, if you're trying to get volume up, the speed of getting those photos listed is the key. So like the upload speed, doing it on your phone, there's just too much lag time there. If every second counts, if you're trying to get as many listings up. So my new setup after talking to Chris is I have my Canon T6i. I've got a 10-foot USB cord. So I will, and this is my plan. I'm gonna have this works for shoes. I was doing this earlier today. I did get 10 listings up today. So I'll have my shoe light box, and then right here beside me, I will have my clothing light box. And I also have a laptop cart, which was delivered. I just need to assemble it tomorrow. I'm not working. Well, I don't consider that much work. Sundays are my days off. Tomorrow I will assemble the cart. And so I'll have the laptop cart. I will have this camera, and then this will be tethered, because the thing about this is you can display your photos on your computer. So you can change the settings. You can see it right there on your computer. and you take them, and it saves them in a folder for you. So like it's instantly. There's no delay. So I create my draft, sell similar, create my listing, have my templates ready. When I get to the point for the photos, I take the photos and then I upload those. Those are like instantly. I finish filling out the rest of the item specifics, go live. I use List Perfectly on clothing. Like right now, I'm just cross listing on Poshmark. I was trying Mercari and Facebook Marketplace, and I've sold on both of those places, but I don't know. It's just like that time. Even though cross listing's pretty fast, I think I just want to do eBay and Poshmark for most clothing right now. So that's my setup, and it has sped up. I guess maybe that's why I've got up to 92 listings this week. Still not where I want to be, but hopefully with this light box, I can get even faster. And I know on Monday, by the way, if y'all aren't members of the Seven Sticks mastermind Facebook group, there's a link in the description. Y'all should join. And Mondays we have our weekly mastermind call. I think it's at 5 p.m. Central Time, where we talk about goals, improvements, and just try to help each other to become better resellers. So that's kind of like the big news for the week. Is like I'm just really focused on improving listing speed. And here's the other thing about the camera. I figured this out yesterday. Like you can control on the manual settings. You have the ISO. You have the different settings, right? So if I put the ISO at 400, it gives me a white background on most items. Like on some things, it washes it out a little bit, so I have to drop it to 200. But 400 gives me a white background, which eliminates the step if you do the background removal tool or having to edit through Photo Room or Photoshop. So by doing that, because that's what we've been talking about a lot, like how can we save time? Because tech and sports, the dude by himself can get 160 listings up a day. He's a machine. And I'll tell y'all his process, which I'm taking some parts from it and some parts I'm going to use it my way, because the dude is so intense and he's no nonsense. The dude's a machine. And like him and Chris have this partnership, and it's got Chris really motivated too. Yeah, time saving. And if you're doing this casually, it doesn't really matter. You know, if you only get 5 listings up a day, 5 to 10 listings, you can do it however you want. But here's the thing, Tech and Sports is the only used clothes seller, this is what Chris says, and I believe it, that does $1 million plus a year on eBay. It's on eBay. He does about $4,000 a day and sells daily. And this is just used clothing. So it's pretty amazing. So the key is, like, if you could get, let's say your average profit per piece of clothing is between 10 to 20. Let's just say it's 15, right? And I found that, like, I'm already starting to sell some of the stuff I've been listing clothing wise, and I hadn't been listing clothing. I was just doing shoes, and I'm still going to do shoes, but I don't think I can find just enough shoes to meet the ultimate goals I want to set. Like I started sourcing pants and jeans and shirts, you know, and I've sold, I think, 5 or 6 pair of jeans and like 1 or 2 pairs of pants this week. And I'll show you all like my I guess a couple of my better sales. I sold an Eileen Fisher sweater I found. So that stuff, the amount of used clothing that you can find at thrift stores, garage sales, the bins, estate sales, it's insane. Our country is so rich and so wealthy, and we get rid of stuff. And you will find tons of stuff worth $30 and less. You will find some worth more than that, but you'll find tons of it at the $30 and lower ASP. And so if you can get that stuff for, say, $5 or less, depending on where you source, like my average cost of goods this week was like, not average, it was like $1.88. So right at $2. So let's say I get a pair of jeans, like I got some women's G-Star jeans, and they sell for $30, 2 to 30, whether it's on Poshmark or eBay. If you can do that, you can easily, at 15 listings a day, you will produce a full-time income. just on clothing. And of course, you can do other things too, right? Like I listed some hard goods today. There's no sense in letting that stuff go to waste. But like the advantage of listing just a couple of categories, everything becomes streamlined. Like I can put I don't need all these bazillion different boxes that I have when I was doing storage units and auctions. That just takes up a lot of room. I just need a couple different poly bags, a couple different boxes, my free USPS boxes. It makes everything so much easier. My goal is, and this is what he does, and I'm gonna go over his process with you guys. Like I pay $35 a month to be in his Facebook group. I pay $129 a year to be in Chris's morning Patreon calls, and I learn so much. And I'll tell everyone this: like a lot of people, they don't want to pay to be in groups, and I get it, right? You want to keep your expenses tight, but the way I look at it is, it's like education. People pay, 40, 50,000. Well, it's more than that. When I went to school, 40, $50,000 for your bachelor's degree for that education. But reselling is like anything else. If you have people that are $1 million a year sellers, why would you not want to learn from them? And yeah, some of their content's free on YouTube, and that's great. And that's what I used to consume. But if I can pay $35 a month or $129 a year to be in a group of like-minded people that will share tips and tricks, and that will, I've met Chris before, and he's responded. Like the power of that it's so valuable. Like the things I'm learning, not to mention the motivation. Like Clay always laughs at me. He thinks like I can deadlift a house after being on these calls, because the accountability and the motivation takes it to a whole nother level. So let me catch up on the comments, and then I'll go over his process, and this works for him. And I'll give you a little commentary, because we 15 minutes Thursday night. Normally that Facebook group, we meet on Tuesday nights on Zoom. It's a Q&A session with Tech and Sports. But because of the election, well, the election lasted all week, and I really don't want to go into that there. I'm trying to keep all that. But our meeting was Thursday night, and he spent 15 minutes talking to me about how he does it, because I had some questions for him. All right, so let me catch up on the chat. Val says, I want to see a setup. I know my product could use an update. I'm going to explain to you his setup, Val, and it's always good to see other people stuff that works and see how you could tweak it. Now keep in mind, his thing's all about volume. Chris has taken some of Tech and Sports, and my setup's gonna be more like Chris. And one of his more recent videos, he kind of goes over a little bit how he lives. There's Scott. Hey guys, once again, link is in the chat, up there if you're on. Scott's our Amazon man, our Poshmark queen. Having a lazy weekend, that's good. Like ultimately, I would like to take the full weekend off, but I guess I'm just so motivated right now, and I'm full time, so I'm taking Sundays off and working Saturdays, kind of like half a day. Don't have to do any shipping that day, but am getting some listings up. And today I worked in here, so I'm about to another shelf to be delivered, and I'm about to outgrow my garage, which means I'll have to get a storage unit real soon. And I don't want that expense, but I will take it as long as it's being profitable. Oh, and I also need to talk about Scott. Kevin was talking about this before I go over. God, my mind's everywhere. It's like racing 100 miles an hour. Before I go over Tech and Sports listing process, eBay sales for me and on Poshmark have been slower this week. I've still had them, and they're okay, but they are slower than what they have been. And there's a lot of factors for that. But here's a tip that I got from Chris in the Patreon group, and I did this yesterday, and it seems to have worked. Sometimes, for whatever reason, maybe you got some returns or some defects, or for whatever reason, your eBay traffic will really slow down. And mine had really slowed down. Like it was like half of what it had been. Like I was only getting 50,000 impressions per day, where I had been around 100,000. Hey, Akeisha, how's it going? She's in our Monday mastermind group. Once again, if you want to join that mastermind group, link is in the description. Join there, and we'll post links to our Monday mastermind calls. They're free, and we can help each other. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I called. Well, no, I didn't call. I wanted to call, but I had to do this through instant message with eBay. I just told them, hey, my traffic has slowed up. on eBay. My impressions are down. I give them all these metrics are in your performance tab of eBay, by the way. And I'm like, I'm running a 30% off sale. I'm using promoted listings. So I don't understand why my traffic is down. Is there any way you can refresh my store? That's what you want to ask them. And she got some information from me, confirmed it was my account. She asked for one of the item numbers in my store, and with that, she was able to. She said she calls it boosting, refreshing, whatever you want to call it. I have noticed the traffic has picked up today, and I think I've got 6 sales today. Where the past few days I've maybe had 1 sale a day, which is really low. And obviously, being full time, that's scary. Now I do sell on Poshmark and Facebook Marketplace and Mercari. That's one of the things about being diversified. Like if one platform is giving you trouble, you got others you can focus on, which will carry you. But so if you ever run into that with eBay, don't be scared to give them a call or reach out to them, and they will. Like she helped me out, and that was a good thing. So that's just an example like that. Learning that tip from that Patreon call. I got 6 sales today. I don't have the dollar amount so far what that's worth, but like that tip I learned, that education I got, I was able to use and led to 6 sales that I don't know how many of those I would have got normally, but probably not all 6. I know my process needs to be streamlined. Space is a big issue. Um, yeah, well, I guess we'll talk about that more. I'd like to talk to you in person about that, the space. Like having dedicated spots is important, and that's why I cleaned up my garage today. And I got this spot right here. It's going to be a dedicated spot. Not going to have to set up, not going to have to take down. Because it needs to be convenient, because time and space and all those things factor in, and they really add up. David says, I'm hoping to start listening again soon. Has everything a big mix up? I'm working hard. Yeah. Hope you get settled in there, David. Moving it is chaotic. I know we moved into our house, I guess 2 years and a couple of months ago, and there were those couple of months when I couldn't sell. It was kind of stressful, but it does give you a chance to reset, to set up, and maybe set up even better than before. All right, so I'm gonna go over the process. This is tech and sports photography process, and it's kind of simple, really. But keep in mind, like he now has 2 employees, but he did this for years by himself. He's only had a couple of employees the past year or 2. And he said by himself, this is all right. This is basically his philosophy, right? And he started kind of like a lot of us, do different things, hard goods, I think cell phones, and that worked well. But he wanted to be able to scale something up, and he realized that there's an abundance of clothing. Like if you walk into a thrift store, it's 80% women's clothing. And there's tons of it that's worth $30, around that $30 ASP that you can get for $5 or under. Buy something for $5, sell it for $30, take out fees. If you're making $15, $20 profit, if you can do that in volume, you can become very wealthy. He's used a lot of that money to create other businesses. He has a lawn service business. He has a physical location that sells used clothing. He has several businesses. The dude is a machine. Like I don't know. He's even more hardcore than I can imagine being. He said for years he was working 20 hours a day. Like, so he would get up early, pack the orders, get them shipped to the post office. He would go thrifting for the day. Like he has 40 different thrift stores in his area. So being in the urban area obviously helps to have all those thrift stores. And he would thrift for about 4 hours a day, come home in the afternoon and get whatever he bought in one day, he got listed. It did not matter. He would not go to sleep until it got listed. And I like that. That is hardcore. But what he told me is that, and now he didn't start 60 items a day one, right? He said maybe 10 or 15 a day. But when he would get 10 or 15 listed at the beginning, and he would get a couple of those that would sell that day, that would just reinforce that it works and fuel him to go get more. And over time, he streamlined his listing process. and was able to source more as he learned more items that were valuable. All right, Val says, no, one space is big enough for me to have one designated spot. I photograph in my bedroom, inventory and laundry room, store and shed, listing and living room. Dang, Val, you're all over the place. So photographing, inventory, and laundry. When you say inventory, or you mean like, all right, so what is your process? Like the whole process. That's what I'd like to hear. Maybe we can talk about it Monday, or yeah, Monday during the mastermind. List and living room. Okay. So he has an 8x10 white rug. That's what he photographs on. Now the only problem with this, I need to shave. Looking wild. So he flat laces on this 8x10 rug. Right now he has whether it's him or two workers. He has a 2x2 foot mat, like a floor mat, that's padded. And when you're photographing, that's where you stay. No wasted movement. Like you got to stay on the 2x2 foot pad, right? So he's photographing on the pad. He's got a bins to his left and a bins to his right. The bins to the left has the clothing that he's going to list, right? So he picks it up, puts it on the rug, does his photography, takes the photos, and I think he takes about 5-6 photos. He's got this cool measuring. He's put these 2 yardsticks together that are color coded and that like work like a cross that you can move them. So it can give you like the chest measurement, the length measurement, and one photograph. Once the clothing's photographed, it moves from the bin on the left. He puts it on the right. While he's photographing, has a piece of paper, or any of his workers, the same process, right? He writes down any flaws they may have. He kind of uses shorthand like HD Harley Davidson, whole right pocket. So he'll note the flaws if they have any flaws on the paper. He said his feet don't move, so there's no wasted movement. And he photographs the photo. So that's how it goes. It's real efficient. Now, someone asked him, and I even asked him, and Chris asked him this too. It's like, because I've done that before, the listing when you're looking down and having to bend over. Like I'm not a spring chicken anymore, so it can hurt your back. And they ask him, well, doesn't that hurt your back? But he's like, well, I literally used to dig ditches before, so no, it doesn't bother me. So he's one of these guys that he finds a system, he simplifies it, and he doesn't really want to tinker with like Chris. On the other hand, Chris is always, and I'm kind of like more like Chris. Like we're always trying to find new and better ways to do things. So I thought about that. I'm like, yeah, I could do the 8x10 rug on the floor, but I don't know. That does hurt my back. Why hurt my back? That's why I got the 7-foot box. Instead of doing it on the floor, I will do it on the hangers, right? And I'm gonna take measurements. I'll have a table right beside here, and I will take my measurements first. I might have a whiteboard where I'll put the key measurements, chest, depending on what it is. If it's like a t-shirt, chest, length, like if you're doing shirt, shoulders, sleeves, depending on what measurements you want. And then I'm gonna put, like I bought masking tape, and I'm gonna put this on the whiteboard where I'll write the different measurement types, chest, length, whatever, sleeve. And I will put this on the whiteboard. And on the whiteboard, then I'll just write the measurements. Take a picture of that measurements on the whiteboard. That'll be one of my pictures. Versus like that's the problem. Like on a flat lay, you can take a picture, and that's what I have been doing. Take a picture with your measuring tape, or in this case, I bought these real cheap. It's backwards. The yardstick, and I've got a couple of those. But in my box, I'm gonna measure it before I take the pictures. Write that down on the whiteboard. Photograph the whiteboard. That's gonna be one of my pictures. Then I will go ahead and list. So the next step is, but the element's gonna be the same, right? I'm gonna have a bucket of clothing here beside me. So I think I can do this for my chair. If not, I'll stand up. It don't matter. Bucket of clothing to photograph here. Measure it, picture, take the photographs on the hangers, flip it around, put it in the bucket, which I'll have my SKU numbers, put it on the bucket to the right, kind of like what he's doing, but instead of taking pictures of flat lay standing over a rug, breaking my back, I'm going to use the box, the light box. All right, his next step. He brings the bin next to his computer. Now, this is the clothing that he's already photographed, so he's batching it, right? It is a good idea to do that. So you batch it. Now, here's the other thing, and Chris, we were talking about this. Like, I think what I'm going to do, because what Tech and Sports does, he has the memory card, he takes it out and uploads it to his computer, but it is faster, like I was talking about earlier, to tether your camera to your computer. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take those pictures, tether to my computer, where those pictures will instantly save to a picture folder, very fast, a lot quicker than uploading on a phone, quicker even than the memory card, which is pretty quick. And this is the other thing. Now, this was his tip, and because he has such a big store, he has 24,000 or 25,000 items in the store. So a lot of people will do sell similar, right? You know, look up a whatever pair of Ariat Rambler boots, right, or whatever clothing, sell similar. But because he does his title a specific way and he's got all the item specifics, what he does is he searches within his inventory on eBay to find a similar item. So he'll sell similar off of one of his items that he's either sold or that he has. And that way he doesn't have to spend as much time correcting item specifics or different items. And I asked him, I'm like, well, like a smaller store, like I have 1,100 items in my store. Like I'm not going to have everything that I find to resell. He's like, well, find something similar. Like if you're looking for, I don't know, a Carhartt shirt that you're listing, but maybe you have an LL Bean shirt. Like, so find something similar, because the key is from newly listed, because you want all those item specifics that eBay is requiring. So that's how he does it. So he's got the bin next to his computer. Mine's going to be a little bit different because I'm going to take the pictures tethered to the computer. You do want that tag. Well, and I guess it's different. If you're doing it his way, then he said he would bring the flaw paper and put it right there on his computer. And as his listings, he would include that, any flaws in his description. He also puts an asterisk at the end of the title, so that he does accept offers, because like he said, I'm not in the storage inventory business. I want to sell this stuff because a lot of the stuff is not unique. I can find it again. So I want to move it, right? Make that money, move it. An asterisk at the end of the title. That way it's to help him know that this item has a flaw. So maybe he'll take a little bit less for it. Yeah, so he looks at the tag, he sells similar, he uploads the photos and the items in the bin. What were some of the key points I was trying to think? So I guess the points that stuck out to me, it's not mind shattering. It's just, he doesn't waste any movement. So he has that 2x2 spot he stands in. He's got one bin to this bin, upload. Like he's cranking these out. Like it's only taking him a few minutes to get these listings up. I do like the idea of sell similar off your own inventory. I do sell similar. And this is one of the things I talked to him about. Like I'm wasting too much time trying to research exactly what my item is worth. I even got the Snap Seller tool, which is great. But like I'm like sorting at high to low, and I'm spending several minutes researching and trying to figure out, well, what's this price? And that may be only a few dollars different versus maybe I just look at Snap Seller tool. They give you the suggested price. I just go with that. Maybe I make $1 or $2 less, but you know what? I'm not spending 5 minutes researching pricing on that, creating that listing. Because if you're spending 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, you're wasting that on each listing, researching and coming up with the price. Well, multiply that times 20 items. You're wasting hours, and those hours you could be listing a lot more inventory, right? So take a little bit less. Let's get this inventory up. And we talked to this guy Matt in our Patreon group. Hey Clay, and Clay knows Matt. He does jeans and men's pants. And he said the same thing that Tech and Sports said. Let me get this last comment. I'm going to catch up on the chat. He said the same thing because he sold thousands and thousands of jeans. That, you know, and that's the other value of focusing in a couple niches. Then you know him so well, like he doesn't even have to look up the price. He knows they do price buckets like this. You know, pants or clothes that fall in this range, I'm gonna sell for $19.99 or $18.88. The next bucket of clothes is $24.88, and then I've got a $29.99 bucket, like different buckets, and not spending so much time trying to figure out that price research to get that exact pricing. So time management and number of listings up is way more important than trying to be, you know, absolutely correct on your pricing. All right. Let me catch up on the chat. Inventory equals measure, lint, row, bag. Measure, okay, measure, lint, row, bag. Okay. All right, that makes sense. And my only question, and I know everybody's setup is different. We got to work in that with what we have, right? And like, if you don't have a 7-foot light box, that's okay. You can still take photos on a white poster board with natural light. Like, there's different ways. But I guess like right now I'm in this mindset of, are there ways to streamline it where we don't waste time and movement? And sometimes there isn't. We just got to work with what we got. See, Clay's in the chat. By the way, guys, if anybody wants the link, holler at me. I'll drop the link again. Matter of fact, let me do it because I see a lot of people here. And I feel like I'm talking 100 miles an hour. All right, there's a link. Anybody wants to pop on? Val says, hey, Clay, buddy, how was Ubering? No, Clay's been killing it on the Ubering side. You know, not a bad way to make some money driving people around. What's up, Jody, our Canadian reseller friends? Val says, Jody, she's awesome. Clay, almost at 200. Got a ride from down. I'm down the south. I'm about 20 miles south of downtown Dallas, Waxahachie. Yeah, apparently those long drives are the way to go. I know I wanted to Uber once upon a time. I still think it's pretty cool. And I actually applied, but it took them like 2 years to get back to me. And then that time I was reselling. And by the time they finally got back to me, I was like, well, I'm already making more per hour reselling than Ubering. But Clay's killing it on the Ubering. I like that idea. Clay says, I'll be back, about to pick up. Thanks, Val. All right. Should I make fun of Val? Should I make fun of Clay, what we were talking about or what he was talking about? No, I won't do it. Clay's funny. Oh, Clay's a good guy. Ooh, I lost where I was. Okay. Valerie, I'm the same way. My living room is my computer area and inventory area. My bedroom is where I take photos. I live in one bedroom apartment. So my choices. Yeah, and that's the thing. We've got to work with what we have, right? And that's the key, is to be flexible and do the best with the area that we have. The laundry room is shared with 20 other units. Can't really do much there. Hey, maybe you can convert them into employees. Get them to work for you in the laundry room. Convert the laundry space into a personal office, right? Yeah, this is my office. Now, we have an office in the house, but like I was in the house, and my wife wasn't having it. And that's the other thing. I am almost out of room in my garage. I am on bin, I think 93 on the 66 quart bins. I do have more small bins for my wholesale jewelry. And I've got room for one more shelf, and I'm almost, so I'm going to have to find a storage unit. That's my next spot, is get a storage unit. I got to figure out if I want to, and I'm in Texas, so it gets really hot. So I'm kind of wanting to find a air conditioner, but I want a big unit, at least 10 by 20, if not 10 by 30, because I want to be able to grow into it. I know Chris has 2 storage units he uses, He's got 10,000 items in a store, and Tech and Sports has a warehouse. Now, he's got 25,000 items. So kind of the progression typically is like your house, your garage, your shed, one of those. Once you outgrow that, if you want to keep scaling, then you get a storage unit. And then after a storage unit or two, because at that point, coming in should be, I mean, like Tech and Sports is doing $4,000 a day. And I know Chris is doing, like, last I heard, it was like 50,000 a month. So what is that? Almost 2,000 a day. So obviously you can afford a warehouse or a storage unit. Eviction notice placed on door. That's funny. Yep. Nobody wants to join me. Somebody walks into the laundry room. Excuse me, do you have an appointment? Oh, I'm dead. That's good. Excuse me, I'm trying to take photographs. Come back later. There, you could put them to work. Have them fold your laundry for you. No Excuses Reseller. Hi, thanks for having the show, watching while this. Hey, thanks for dropping by on No Excuses Reseller. We do have a Patreon group. We meet on Zoom on Monday afternoons, where we talk about our goals and try to help each other reach our reselling goals. You can find that through the 7 Sticks Reseller Facebook group. That is in the description of the video. If you're not in that group, guys, check it out. Join us for a Monday call. And if you got any snow today, snow, I got the fan on, Jody. It's like 79 here in Dallas, the Dallas area. Holy smokes, woke up like 4 hours ago and couldn't believe my eyes. Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, here in Texas, we don't get a lot of snow. Love it when we do. I guess that's the benefit of being in Canada. You're even farther north than Val. Jody's also doing Uber Eats and loving it. Makes 78 in literally 2. Wow, that is killer. Now, Uber Eats does sound interesting. Write that down. Is that normally what you can make? 78 bucks delivering 2 hours? Shoot. Yeah, and I know Instacart, you can make some good money too, delivering groceries. So that's the thing. There's a lot of different ways you can make money that aren't traditional. And the economy is becoming more and more of a gig economy where, Uber Eats, Instacart, Uber, DoorDash, all of these flexible, and of course reselling. Like I still think reselling has the highest top end, but it's not guaranteed. I know that's why Clay likes Ubering, because it takes the stress off, because he knows he's gonna get paid. Whereas reselling, there is a bit of a delay, but the reselling top end is greater than any of those others. I mean, you can't make $4,000 a day Uber Eats. Now, don't get me wrong, $78 in 2 hours is great. It's even got me intrigued, but I think reselling has the most top end, but it's the least predictable. Yeah, that's great, man. What do people order up there? What's the most common food ordered in Canada, Jody? Not bad at all. That's nice. No soda day. It's summer. Yeah, no, I'm working out a deal to Tori. She's working on. I'm gonna plan on taking a trip up to Colorado. Hopefully where it gets too snowy, because I don't have like an all-terrain vehicle either. And my plan is, when I go pick up that inventory from you, Val, like I'm gonna make pit stops along the way. I'm gonna write this freaking business trip off. Spend a few days to write off the whatever hotel I stay in, and do some thrifting. I'd like to go do a little thrifting up there in Colorado while I'm up there, and come back with a carload full of inventory. That's my plan. And write all that stuff off, because I'm out of state, which means you can write off the mills too. And I will tell you, we love, matter of fact, I bought this hat from Val in her Poshmark closet. She's got a great Poshmark closet. Denver, the Denver area, like we went this summer. I love going up to Colorado, and we went hiking, and there's like a restaurant I say a chain, but it's not really a chain. It's called Yak and Yeti, and it's like, I don't know how to pronounce it, like Neapolise, um, like people that live in the mountains, and they serve like that type of food. I sound so stupid right now. It is so good, and took my obviously when my family we went up there and we ate at Yak and Yeti. I love Yak and matter of fact, I got a Yak shirt. I'm such a fan of theirs, so I will definitely be eating some Yak and Yeti. In the Denver has one, Park, which is a suburb of Denver. Where I think that's where we stayed. They have one. A little hiking. I need to get back to hiking. All right, my mind's everywhere. All right, back to the chart. The comment. Wyoming, the locks freeze on the storage unit. Ooh, I bet. And if you even think of not filling something correctly, it is not fun. But it's very cheap. Yeah, I bet you definitely need to be bundled up there, no doubt. And I've done storage units too, like that. I love reselling, like buying storage units. I probably bought about 8 or 9. You can get inventory really cheap, but the problem with buying storage units is you got to process all that stuff, and a lot of it's trash, and you got to dump it and figure out what you want to sell yourself and how you're going to get rid of it. It's really good money, and you can make good money doing that, but I don't know. Currently, I'm not in the mood for that. Cody has West Side Store. Like right now, I just hit. Let me see. I know I hit over 1,000 recently. Like I'm trying to grow my eBay store. I have 1,119, so about 1,100. And I got up 94 listings this week, and I want to keep pushing those listings up. So like Chris finally got his store to, he used to be 10K on the Bay. I love the idea of a 10,000 item store. Tech and Sports has 25,000. Now he did say that like when the pandemic hit in March, like there was a couple weeks where sales dried up, but then after that it was great for reselling. People got that stimulus money, and his inventory went down like I think he said 25,000 to 18,000. That was even with him listing, like between him and his 2 workers, 250 items were going up a day, and his inventory still dropped that low. So like him and Chris are kind of like, they're my mentors. And like I said earlier, 15 items a day listed will generate a full-time income consistently. If you make $15 profit, you're listing 15 a day. After 90 days, you'll be making that's what you should be making if you're decent stuff. And it's easy to source decent to good stuff. My goals are like, I don't know, like this week my listing goal was 66, and we'll talk about this Monday in our mastermind group. I'm at 94. So I'm gonna have to, I think next week I'll set a weekly listing goal of a 100, but I want to keep pushing it. Like if Tech and Sports can do it, if Chris can do 100 a day, eventually I want to get to that point. I'm nowhere near that. Like my record this week, I got 23 up one day. But maybe if I can get 25 up a day, 6 days a week, what is that? 150? Like Tech and Sports said, you set goals and you keep each one. It's like, and Chris, we talked about this on Patreon. It's like running, right? You don't start out compare reselling and listing to running. You don't start out being able to list 160 items a day, just like you don't start out being able to run 50 miles a day, right? 15 miles a day is the equivalent. 15 miles a day. Gosh, my brain's right. 15 listings a day is the equivalent of a 5K running like 3 miles. And you just got to kind of build up and keep setting new listing goals. If you want to scale. Now, if you want a smaller store, I mean, that's fine, but depending on what your goals are. Val says, I think my max limit for storing clothing is 25. 2,500 is a lot. So let's get you up to 2,500. At that point, Val, you're going to be raking in so much money. We say, all right, Val, it's time to get you a storage unit and maybe get you an employee, right? Because what if we can make $1,000 a day profit reselling? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of what Chris does. $1,000 a day. I mean, most people be happy with $1,000 a week. Jody starts pulling other people's clothes out of the dryer and list them. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, you could go set up in a line. I will wash. You charge them to wash and dry their clothing, right? But what you do is you actually steal their clothing and then you go list it. Now, I'm actually an ex-police officer, so this is just theoretical, but walking on the dark side. Don't do this, of course, but that is a brilliantly evil plan. You go to a nicer suburb, but then again, if you have good money, are you really going to? I was thinking a laundromat, but y'all are talking about Netflix. Yeah, evil. That's evil. Evil. Brilliant. Congrats on winning your bet. Oh yeah. Yeah. We won't go into this too much because I'm trying to stay positive and not go down that rabbit hole. But um, this is interesting. So Jay, and he's got a YouTube channel, The Flipping Sloth. Good channel too, by the way. Jay's a good guy. He's been on here a lot. He's kind of laying low right now. We made a bet back in the summer on the presidential election. And based on the polls and everything, I thought it was a no-brainer that Biden was going to win. And obviously, it turned out way closer than that. But Jay, we wagered $1,000. I won. Now, according to Jay, he's not going to concede it. He sounds like Trump. He's not going to concede it until Inauguration Day. And I told Jay, for your sake, that's fine. We will wait till Inauguration Day. And then he owes me $1,000. Now, I was asking Val and Clay, we have a little message group going, what if they thought he was going to pay. Clay thinks he is. I'm kind of doubting it, but I'm not going to get booty hurt. Like, I'm not going to be a jerk about it because ultimately, this is the only thing I'll say in politics. Regardless of who is elected, I think as a nation we are way too divided, and we have way more in common as a nation than we have differences, and we are so divided as a country right now that and I think Biden is going to do a good job of this, is we need to come together, and we don't need to, we don't need to put the other, whichever group you're on, they shouldn't be your enemies. Like, we should be coming together, finding commonality, and working together to lift each other up. And so that's kind of my approach with Jay. Like, if he pays, great. I hope he does. If he doesn't, like, I'm not going to be an a-hole about it and like hunt him down or terrorize him about it. I did offer, I will say this, when we made the bet, I offered to have Clay, a mutual friend, keep the money. That way it was secure. Jay didn't want to do that. So that kind of makes me question if he's going to pay. But anyway, enough of that. All right. Akeisha, starting tax classes next Saturday for 2021. All right. So we'll go to Akeisha for some reseller tax help. I like it. Little tax hustle. I've been doing my taxes the past few years. I do think after this year, starting in January, I probably will get a CPA. I like doing that type of stuff, but man, there's so many little parts to reselling, and I'm just scared I'm missing something on the table. So congrats on that, Akeisha. Let us know anything you learn. You can update us. Further north than Val. Only 2,000 miles, right? Well, when you're in Texas, almost everyone's farther north than you are. True. He's only a few yards away. It's all relative, right? Time, distance. I don't think I was making that much with Uber Eats before. That's good, man. I love that. I love the delivery. Like, that was one of my first jobs. I worked for a pharmacy as a delivery driver, delivering prescriptions to like nursing homes and between different pharmacies. And I love to be driving around and to get paid for it, because driving, I enjoyed it. And I was a police officer for years. So that was a big part of my job was driving around also. I love driving, so to drive and get paid almost doesn't feel like work. I know Clay kind of feels that way. So that's great. Love the new gig economy. I would even consider Uber Eats. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to block out some time for it, I guess. For Uber Eats is probably Mickey D's. It's a huge mix of everything. Yeah. And all right, let's talk about Mickey D's. And once again, I felt sound like a Chris and Tech and Sports. I think those guys are brilliant. But um, let's relate McDonald's to reselling, right? There's different models of reselling. There's different models of restaurants. McDonald's model is cheap, efficient, volume, right? Volume. And Jody says McDonald's is the most popular. So when you think about reselling, you could have a small store with higher ASP items. Of course, you're going to have to spend more time sourcing to find those, and you're not going to sell as many items, right? But if you look at the stores that make the most money reselling, they do the McDonald's approach. We call it everyday value, right? You're getting, like I sold some Levi's jeans today on eBay. I sold a couple other pair of jeans on Poshmark. These are jeans selling $20, $30, $35. I'm able to pick them up for a couple bucks locally, but they're so abundant that I want to fill my store with this type of clothing. Items that will sell between 25 to 35. Now, if I find something that sells for more, obviously I'm gonna get it. Like I sold an Eileen Fisher sweater for like 50 something today. It was actually in a storage unit. I didn't thrift that. That was from a storage unit I bought months ago. But anyway, back to the model. So you can find that stuff. So the model is, this is a Tech and Sports model. Find it daily, source daily, list it quickly, and that's the key. You've got to be able to list it quickly. That's why we're talking about tethering and processes and how get it listed quickly, and then just repeat, because you want to build a big store like a McDonald's like store loaded with value items, everyday value, your Big Macs, your quarter pounder with cheese, your chicken nuggets, your Levi's, your G Star, your J Crew, all these clothing items depend on your niche. And I used to be anti-clothing. Now I'm in clothing because it's so abundant. It's just like McDonald's. It's abundant. It's everywhere. So anyway, I don't know. I kind of got on a tangent there. Jody says, no one restaurant sticks out. I'm visiting new restaurants I've never been to every time. Well, let me know if you find any good ones that maybe they have down here. I wonder how much it would cost. If I do an Uber Eats, Jody, if you picked it up, how much would be the fee to have you bring it to Texas, the Dallas, Texas area? Probably cost me a fortune. Going to Golden, Colorado. Nice. I don't think the Coors, when we went up there this summer in Golden, Colorado, I love Golden, Colorado. The Coors Brewery, they weren't doing tours. I love taking their tour because you go up there and they show you how they make the beer. And at the end, you get the wristband and you get your 3 free drinks. And I'm not typically a Coors kind of guy, but I guess because it's so fresh, being made right there at the brewery, those beers are amazing. I remember it. And then you can go hiking nearby, and they've got a cool little downtown area. We had some good, I think it was Vietnamese food over in that end area. What you doing up there? You should do a little resourcing while you're resourcing. You should do a little sourcing while you're up there, Akisha. 1,400 restaurants. Yeah, I think Dallas is one of the densest restaurants per square mile places in the world. What's the all right, we have a reselling question. What is the breaking point to jump to anchor? Good question. So let me think. You got your eBay stores, right? You got your basic, and I'm on the one above that. I think that's a good question. I need to look at that. But basically, you got to do the math, right? You got to look at the number of listings you get. And the anchor is what, 10,000 listings, Cody? You get 10,000? Gosh, that's a good question. I haven't looked at stores in a while. I'm at the second level. The anchor is the third level store. I want to say 3 or 4,000 items, but don't quote me. That's something you'll have to look at. Like break down the price per item, per number of listings, and do the math. You'll just have to do the math on that. I'll look at that because I do like that kind of nerdy stuff. I'll look at that and get back to you. But I know I did that math with moving to the store I'm at, and I think it was around 400 items. It makes sense to move to the second level store, and I'm at 1,100. How many items do you have, Cody, in your store? And I know eBay's giving a lot of free listings away currently. Val says, I think Cannon City has 8 fast food drive-through restaurants, 10 sit-down restaurants. When we finally get a Taco Bell, it was the place to go. Talk about your everyday value, right? That's Taco Bell. Everyday value. Val says, if I made $1,000 a day, I would build my own storage unit. You could make $1,000 a day. We can, and I'm ambitious. And I see Chris doing it. I see Tech and Sports doing it. I ask myself, why can't I do it? I can do it. Val, you can do it. Now, the bigger your store gets, obviously, the more work it's going to take. But that's where it comes down to being efficient and shaving time, and eventually maybe have a helper or two. Like I have a VA, a virtual assistant through Hammock, HAMMOQ. They're like Sellhound. Now I will say this: my VA through Hammock, like I'm having to train them. I'm not super pleased. Like I do a much better job listing, so I'm $1.45 per listing. You upload the pics, and Sellhound, you have to do it on your phone, which is a little slow. On Hammock, you can do it on your desktop, which is much faster. You can bulk upload all your photos, and they don't need as much information filled out, so it's faster on that end. They're like Sellhound. They will create a draft for you on eBay of a listing. You can review it and go live. So I'm trying to train my VA right now. We've probably done 50 listings with them, but you can crank out a lot more listings that way. So I'm thinking, have my Hammock VA, because I can crank out a lot of listings, and then I still want to list some daily too. So it's kind of like almost like having an employee, but without the tax. Yeah, I don't know what I was talking about. That was funny, but he's thought through this before. Oh, you're talking about the $1,000 a day? Yeah, I spend too much time thinking about how to scale. And Clay, well, he's on the drive right now, but he's in that Patreon group. He doesn't hardly show up anymore because he's doing Uber. Our calls are like 8 a.m. Central Time. But I learn so much, and I get so motivated. Like I see them, and I'm like, I want to do that. Like my store. Well, keep in mind, I sell on eBay. That's my biggest one. Poshmark is probably second. Facebook Marketplace and Mercari, depending on what I'm selling. Some stuff I'll sell on different platforms. I think I haven't read my October numbers. I think gross is around 12,000 a month is what I'm grossing right now. But I look at Chris doing 50K plus, and I look at Tech and Sports doing 120K gross per month. And I'm like, man, I gotta try to get on their level or close to it. It's doable though. When you talk to these guys, and yeah, I mean, you gotta have, and then you just gotta like constantly try to get a little bit better. I mean, Chris's channel is daily refinement. Get a little bit better each day, because you're not going to go from $500 a month reselling to 50,000 a month instantly, right? There's a process as you grow. Jody thinks it's funny. Val says Brian goes to bowling alley to source for shoes. Ooh, dang, Val, I'm gonna put you on my think tank group. I like the way you're thinking. Oh, there's Clay. Hey, Clay, what's going on? Val's brainstorming some great sourcing ideas.
Really? I'll have to go back and watch, because I was only able to watch. I can't drive with YouTube on. Like the only way I can listen is if YouTube's on the screen, unless there's some workaround. So I can't like listen to you while I have a passenger.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, I like the sunroof. Your sunroof in the Claymobile is top notch.
Now I can open it since I'm done for the day. I'm like 5 minutes from home, so I'm gonna go to El Phoenix and get.
Hold on.
I don't
Wait,
know if you
no.
want to say.
No,
Just Ryan want to.
He's going to El Phoenix. He's ordering cheese enchiladas.
Yeah.
No beans, double rice. Now these are cheese enchiladas, but here's the kicker: no onions. I get that. No onions if you don't like onions. But on the top they put the extra cheese. Even though it's cheese enchiladas, and somebody like me would be like loaded up. Not too much cheese though.
Yeah. Some flour tortillas. Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day when Clay and I were sourcing together, we would end our days at El Phoenix most days, and that's his favorite.
Or any Tex-Mex. Remember, we went to that one in Arlington by the ballpark too.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
And
I can't think of what the name of that one is.
I can't either, but yeah. Actually, we're planning. We're in the rough stages of going sourcing. Clay and I, because my wife had COVID, and she's out of quarantine tomorrow. Now, and I will say this: I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this kind of stuff. Like, she's a teacher, and I used to be a teacher. And that's why I quit, and I felt kind of guilty because she got it teaching, and it's a mess. And the number of COVID cases. But anyway, and hers was pretty mild. There was one night she was scared because she was having trouble breathing, and the doctor had to basically get her an inhaler and a prescription, different things. But she's had it pretty mild. And when I say mild, I'm talking about like no strength, super fatigued for like, there's a solid week. She like to get out of the bed almost was too much. But she's getting better, and tomorrow's her last day of quarantine. And I say all that because Clay and I are planning. Obviously, I'm being her husband. I'm around her, and we've been careful and all that. She's been isolated in the room. I've been sleeping upstairs in the guest bedroom, and wearing the mask and dropping off food and different things, helping her. But not putting myself in the situation or my daughter. But anyway, all that's coming to a close. She is starting to feel better. She's still not at full strength 2 weeks later, but Clay and I are planning on going sourcing one day later next week. Obviously, once it's safe for him to be around me. And like we used to, like we do garage sales, and I do want to go to a garage sale one day, focusing more on clothing now.
I've not been to garage selling. I went to that lady Tiffany, that I got to know, but I went to a couple of hers, but I think those are the only ones I've been to. And the last one was a month ago or something, when she gave me that stuff for kind of working for like an hour after the sale ended. So I keep looking, but I'm like, no, I have stuff at home and I need to get out and Uber. Like, even though some sales today look good, I'm like, no, Uber's having a promotion this morning, like do this many rides, you make an extra $10. So I'm like, don't go spend money, go make money right now.
No, that's good.
Like we're running out of garage sales.
They'll happen in our area. They're pretty much year round.
I slow down, but
they'll slow down, but they'll still be there.
I just read when I was at a red light, about what Val said about her honey hole or whatever, getting a film there. Is that one of her things or whatever, or sourcing ideas, or what was?
Well, we were kind of joking about. We were talking about like, dedicated spaces and where you resell at. She was going over her place, and then Jody chimed in about because like Val uses her laundry area as part of her reselling space.
Oh, yeah.
Jody was talking about how like he shares like the laundry area is shared with 20 other tenants, and then Val was like, yeah, just tell them you'll wash their clothes and just take all their clothes and resell them.
Just take. He gets to take one out of every 5 items.
Right. So, and then she was talking about for me doing that at a bowling alley with shoes. And I was like, man, she's got a devious mind, but it's brilliant. Imagine all the good shoes I could get if I got in with a bowling alley and just took people's shoes up in a nice suburb.
Did they leave there?
Yeah.
I've thought about that with dry cleaners. You know, like what do they do with their? Because like you and I both have like I don't know, a million dry cleaners. Like I even probably more than you just living here, but like my God, how many did I drive through
Great
past in
idea. So
Waxahachie today?
what do they do with them? Do they donate them? Do they sell them? Yeah, that would be a great place to. Ooh, I'm highlighting that.
I'll go to mine up here
Yeah,
Monday and ask at this place where they kind of know me and they know Angie, and that could help. Just that they know her and love her, of course. But I've thought
right.
that before, and I think we talked about that like a year ago or
Yeah,
something, and just didn't look into it because I'm like bowling alleys. What else? Now I'm like, what other is on the list of like where do clothes go? A
yeah,
cobbler for shoes.
great.
The
I'm
but
gonna
some of the
report back to me because I'm obviously there's so many dry
yeah
cleaners. Like I could hit a couple down here, and if you could get in
yeah
with this one, I mean, you might get turned down by 9, but maybe the 10th one, and that's kind of what Chris says. It's like, that's
because
like spending time trying to develop unique sourcing opportunities.
yeah because even if you're buying it, I assume probably
Right, but you probably get it
if
cheap.
you could get in from enough. Huh.
And if people are dry cleaning it, it would be typically better quality. People aren't going to dry clean Faded Glory or Morona, right?
Or not even like my Banana Republic that I used to buy for school. Go people. Because I bought it like the no wrinkle stuff. So
Right.
yeah, you're buying like when I work for Dad, dress shirts. Brooks Brothers and
Yeah,
whatever. I was
pants
gonna
too.
say
Nice
Lord
specs.
Lord and Taylor. That makes me sound old since
Some Ralph
since they're
Lauren.
not. Yeah, all
Yeah, that's
brands,
good.
depending. Oh my God. Oh yeah. See, Dad went to Woodrow for high school with a guy who owns a cleaners, and Dad still
Ooh.
goes there because of the bond. So I
Mm.
wonder if that's where the
We'll
dad
see.
connection of yeah.
Yeah, you need to work that out. And if you can get more
And
than you can handle, then you could wholesale it to me.
and his isn't yeah, man.
I
Because I
like
get
that.
turned down, I'd be curious how many items per month on average are they holding on to? Like, I get the main question is how long does it take before you do whatever you do with it? And some might keep
Yeah.
it if they only get a few, maybe they keep it forever, in like 3 months, 4 months. But yeah, but like also the part of town because that guy has his cleaner over on Maple near the toll road. So like he's got people like Dad that whatever Uptown, Park Cities, Lakewood probably. So better
Yeah.
clothes.
Better clothing. Yeah.
Yeah, you would
Yeah.
think.
Check it out. And I guess I'll wait on you to hear what you say. But like, yeah, that's something I can
Yeah.
do down here too. Like if you could get one source, and maybe you have to go to X amount of dry cleaners, but to get your foot in the door. All right, let me catch
There's
up
so
on the
many. I'm writing it down. Yeah.
no excuses. Reseller says Cody right now 1,400 items on eBay. If that was for me, I just went full time 4 weeks ago. That's good. 1,400 items. Yeah, Clay and I just went full time. What was it? It was September 16th. I went full time reselling. Before that was just part time. So I'm looking to really scale up too. Val says cost of goods $0 on the bowling alley idea. I like it. Jody says I do agree about the division. Brian, it's sad to see. Yeah, we just need to come together. We need to heal as a nation. Akeisha said I won a $100 bet on it. Yep, I won $1,000. Akeisha, I don't know if I'll ever see it, but we'll see.
He will, I believe.
I hope, but like I'm not gonna be an a-hole about it either way.
I know. No, it's not. Yeah, it's not worth it. Now, if he lived in the U.S., it almost would be funny to road trip if he was relatively close and just show up on the door, knocking live on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He's really passionate. Oh, cute doggy. He's really passionate
Right?
about his political
Oh
beliefs.
my God, so passionate. It's fascinating because I can't imagine
I don't really want to
like
talk
being
politics.
that fascinated with. I know, but I'll just last thing. I can't imagine being that fascinated with like England, Britain, Ukraine. You know, like
Yeah, I follow a little bit of Brexit, but
that's
very
not.
little. Like I wouldn't be like the way his level of it.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
each to their own. That's what I tell you.
yeah,
Might as well
yeah. That's
come
his
over here.
interest.
Jody says, I love to
Yeah.
drive. We were talking about Uber Eats. Jody said he made $78 on Uber Eats in 2 hours. And I told him I love
What?
to drive. Yeah, $78 in 2 hours on Uber Eats. It's got me thinking about Uber Eats. He said, I
How?
love to
That
drive
is
too, Brian, so it's quite nice. Also, not having a set schedule is what appeals to me the most about Uber Eats.
78. Is that recently, Jody? Like, are you
Yeah,
doing
now
it
he
now?
did say that that's not a normal amount. I don't know what the
I was
normal
gonna
amount.
say because
Aikisha says
I thought,
driving blows trucker here. So yeah, being a truck, my dad was a truck driver. So yeah, I'm sure there's a point where it gets old.
yeah. I
Jody
mean,
said,
I drove 9 hours today, and I'm kind of tired of sitting, but I met a lot of nice people, and I made $210 for
yeah,
driving.
that's a lot
I
better than teaching.
mean,
A lot better than
oh
teaching.
my God! I was just telling these cute girls that are way too young, but they were still cute and super nice. And one was like, "That's great that you quit." She's like, "That's all that matters. That your stress level is like way down." I was like, "Yeah, I'll figure
So
out,
guys,
like a third thing to add or something.
right
That's
now we see why
people related."
he really likes to Uber. The truth comes out.
I did I didn't even tell you. I did. So I Ubered a lady. She's our age from um, uh, off Jefferson Boulevard. You know where what charcoal broiler is? Up
Yeah,
to she does hair. So I took her up to like Addison, I guess, and she used to rent like a what do you call it, a chair at a place, but with Corona, that was shut down. So she has a big apartment, um, and so some people come to her place and they do it out on the patio. And some of the older clients, she goes to them and they'll pay for her Uber. So we were talking, and I thought I could see her face before she got in. I thought she was cute, so I was like, "Well, how do I like, I don't know, try to chat her up a little?" And I was like, "Well, do you have a card? I don't need a haircut right now." And she's like, "Well, no, just get my number." And then I was like, "Well, wait, you said people pay for your Uber." So I was like, "Next time you have these appointments, especially to Frisco, I can make like $30." So I gave her, I forgot I had a card. She gave me her number. So I did text her today and just said, "Hey, it's Clay from Uber. Have you been busy cutting hair?" So we'll see. You know, maybe it's
hey,
just a haircut, but
there you go. Never know.
maybe,
You never know.
never
If
know.
you don't swing, you
Yeah,
can't hit.
yeah, maybe
Listen,
a little hopeful since, I'm like with dating, I'm like, whatever, it ain't going to happen. Or how do you
well,
meet
to
people
me,
during
people, as
Corona?
you're meeting, doing this full time, yeah, your odds are definitely increasing. Let me see.
Yeah.
No excuses. Reseller ads. Aren't you using Hammock? I am using Hammock. When I went on board with Hammock, I was so excited. But I will say this: the quality of my VA on Hammock is nowhere near as good as I am listing, and so I'm working with them. So I'll send them a few drafts a day. I'm trying. Hopefully, I can get them up to my level, or even 80% of it. Right? I don't expect them to be as good as me, but if they get as me, because it's so fast. The thing is, like, I upload the pictures, just a couple things quick, so it sends it to them. They put the draft in eBay for me, but I have to go back and revise and check it. And I'm spending too much time currently checking it and correcting it. And I am like messaging them like, "Hey, please do this and do that." But they're sometimes they make the correction, sometimes they don't. If I could just send it to them and I know it comes back and it gets to the point where I don't even have to check it and it's a good listing, Hammock is a no-brainer. Like $1.45 an item, that's great, right? But like right now, I'm spending time editing and correcting their listings, and I'm like, I even told like basically the guy that runs it, he's the guy I communicate, and then he sends that information to my VA. I think they're in India actually, and I even told him the other day, I don't want to be rude or anything, but like I'm paying for the service and I'm spending the amount of time I'm spending correcting the drafts, I could list the item myself and not have to pay for it. So he did, I guess, take that more seriously, and he wants me to stick with him. So I'm trying to see. I know, I think it's good. It will allow you to grow, but the quality is not where I want it to be right now. Akeisha says bread and butter items. Yep, you can scale bread and butter. Val loves clothing. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I was anti-clothing for the longest time, and I love shoes, but I don't think I can scale shoes the same way I can scale clothing. So I'm adding clothing to my shoes. Jody says the big money for restaurants is in the drinks. Huge, yeah, no doubt, right? Oh my God, I'm so
Okay.
far behind on the chat. Jody says probably around 6K. I don't know what that question was to. We're so far behind. I don't know. Val says I take the Coors Couch tour. They're talking about going up to Golden, Colorado, and the Coors Brewery. Keisha's going up there in December, and I was talking about when I did the Coors tour. I love Colorado.
Oh yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
I love Colorado. Jody says I don't know. Furthest trip I've done for Uber is 3.5 hour trip. Oh, I was joking about him coming down here. 3.5 hour trip from Edmonton to Calgary made $300. Cost. What the heck did he order for $400?
Well, no, it's non-Uber Eats. He said, like passenger.
Oh, like an Uber.
So
Like you.
Jody,
What's your longest trip?
yes.
Like?
Waco, hour and a half, or past Greenville, an hour and a half. I've done several like that, or I took that guy to Oklahoma, the casino, a few weeks ago. I guess an hour and a half from Fort Worth. You know,
what does an hour and a half trip pay?
So Jody,
Roughly.
is that a 7-hour trip? You're saying 3.5 one way? I guess. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm so far behind. Let me catch up on the chat. Maybe he'll answer it by the time I catch up. I'm way behind.
Signal.
Akeisha says going to Cripple Creek and Mama's wedding for Christmas. That's why she's going up to Colorado. Val says gambling. We lost Clay. Gambling or ice festival or both. Akeisha's going to the casino. Val says if I ever got big enough, I'd hire my sister. That's interesting. Let's talk about that on Monday. Like,
What the heck?
I've like, my son has listed for me part-time. Like, I think it's hard to find, like, he's good, but he just wasn't motivated. What's up, Clay? Clay's stuck. He's happy. Jody says if I played a little less Call of Duty, I could probably do it. No, but honestly, trying to split your incomes with many different ventures is tough. I'm only at 3 right now. YouTube could be 4. Yeah, diversifying that income. Yeah, I don't have time for video games anymore. I could, but then I know, like, with my ambitious goals, like, I need to spend most of my time reselling. I am taking tomorrow off. Jody's monetized. I've given up, but average million has 7 sources of income. Yeah, well, like, yeah. Well, that a lot of resellers, they'll use their money, like tech and sports, like either into real estate or to create other businesses. And that's kind of my plan, or you could even do stocks. But got to get there first. Yeah, I'm way behind on the chat. We're laughing at you talking about stealing clothes. Yeah. And when Clay comes on, I get even further behind on the chat. Chad makes a decent chunk of change with YouTube. I've been slacking on my channel. Yeah, I don't think the amount of work you put into YouTube. Now, this is me with my 635 subscribers, right? So take it with a grain of salt. And even talking to a couple people that are monetized, like the bang for buck. I think you got to look at it really long term. And I would rather put most of my time into listing where I know that will turn into money. And I like the lives because I don't have to edit videos, and I don't know. The lives is more for the community, and we can talk reselling, but I don't want to really spend much time editing, but that's just me. Yep, Jody says it takes so much time. That time I always think, how many listings could I get up? How much money could I make reselling during that time? But also yesterday I went to my Honey Hole, Pueblo, Colorado location. You guys share that with me when I come up to get that inventory. Maybe I'll obviously I'm not going to be challenging your honey hole. I won't be up there very much. I'll be curious. And the director of both stores approached me. He recognizes me, YouTube fan. Oh, look at you with your YouTube famous. Wow, get a little collaboration. I like it, Val. Nice. Jody says, "Al, that's actually awesome." Yeah, I agree. I asked him if I could film in their stores, and he was excited. Makes YouTube a little more fun. No doubt. Cool beans. To get to show YouTube in depth look at my honey hole. Only problem with that, Val, is everybody learns your honey hole. Your honey hole ain't gonna be a honey hole anymore. Rosa by the ballpark. Yep, not sure who that was too. Callie Picker. So you've been exposed to the virus and you're going to go out in the community and possibly spread it. No, I have been staying at home. I also do wholesale, so I get stuff shipped to me, and I have a what do you call it? Well, I don't want to say a death pile. I have a money pile that I've been working through. But as after tomorrow, I will be free. That's why we're planning to go sourcing next week when it's safe, Callie Picker. Greetings. Val says, you ever had any items that you dread selling because you don't have a box to fit and you're going to have to Frankenbox it? I got rid of a lot of boxes today, Val, because I'm streamlining to clothing and shoes. But doing different auction items and garage sale items, I did keep a lot of boxes. But here's a tip: like, you could always go driving. If Scott was still here, he could talk about that in a box. You could go find boxes behind like Best Buy or Walmart or stores that have a lot of boxes. So if I need a rare occurrence where I need a big box, I will just go find it. I got rid of boxes to clear out space to try to streamline it. And of course, I carry most of the free USPS priority mail boxes too. Like, what are you trying to resell? You need a Frankenstein. No excuse reseller says Chris and Tech and Sports are awesome. They have processes in place to make it. Yeah, exactly, and that's why I'm members of both of their groups and learning from those guys and being accountable and just getting motivated. It's all about processes. It's all about getting a little bit better. That's what we spend our calls on. How can we get a little bit better in this area, a little bit better? And it's already working for me. Like before week, my high number of listings per week was 50. But I hit 94 this week, and next week I plan on hitting over 100. And eventually I'd like to get to 100 listings a day, not a week. Callie Picker's telling Clay to breathe. Yeah, Clay's motor can really get turning once he's talking. Val, yeah. I mean, that was really good brainstorming Clay was doing about the what do you call it? My brain went blank. The not the laundromat, the dry cleaner. Duh. Been a long week. The dry cleaner. Yeah, because they get all this clothing in, and some of it doesn't get picked up. What do they do with it? Go out there and talk to local dry cleaner owners and see if you can get a deal where you can buy that stuff cheap. Yeah, the brainstorming, and that's what we do in our mastermind calls, is brainstorm. Once again, if you want to join our free mastermind call, we meet Monday afternoons. You can find the weekly link in the 7 Sticks Reseller Facebook group. Link is in the description. Join the group, and you can join us on a Monday and become a regular. Jody says, I look forward to seeing your honey hole in depth. That sounded Jody. Also, if you ever hit 2,500 active inventory, you'll be killing it. Not if, it's when, right? You're going to get there, Val. I'm going to get there too. And I'm going to move on from that comment. It's like Publishers Clearinghouse, except in reverse. They pay you. Can I catch up? Tips make up for literally 50% of the income from Uber Eats. People tip very decently. Nice. Well, when I use those services. And I'm a little cheap. I typically will go get my own food, but I do use Instacart to keep out of the grocery stores and to save time. And I like to tip them well too. Val says shows up with balloons and demand your money. Jody says, and that was the trip after trip. I'd get another trip before I was even finished the one I was on. Nice. Gotta love the gig economy. And Jody's doing a little currency conversion. I am so far behind. And when Clay starts talking, I get even farther behind. I'm trying to catch up. I'm talking about taking a course to my couch. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that either, even though you're a lot closer to Golden, Colorado than I am. Yeah, pretty much 6.5 hours, but I enjoyed it. Wow, that's a long trip. Blast the tunes, cruise control, and drive back. Yep, that's a good way to make money, man. I like it. Clay's having technical difficulties. All right, here's the link, Clay. There's the link again. Anybody else wants to jump on? Jody, if I'm being honest, the part I hate the most about reselling is taking photographs because I'm a clothing it's supposed to be different. I used to be like that, but I don't know. Since I've been around these guys, like it's almost like I view it as a challenge. So I haven't been hating it lately. All right, there's the chat. Val says, I'm okay sharing it. I did notice after they started watching me, the cost of certain brands went up. Yeah, be careful sharing honey holes. Fat Elvis Goods, LLC, boom. Fat Elvis Goods. Well, hello, Fat Elvis Goods. Hope you're doing all right.
That's your dog? Your dog has a channel now?
No, he doesn't. He's not that
That'd be awesome.
Oh, there's Scott. Scott's still here. What we're talking about, like finding boxes. Yeah, Scott does a little dumpster diving, even though his main reselling revenue is Amazon. Clay earlier said, I guess, I'm trying to catch up. I want to catch up before we start. Clay said, I guess where I'm at, the signal string early on my bum. I just parked at El Phoenix. Oh, gotta get those enchiladas.
Yeah, you can see. You can see. Can you see the sign right there?
Was that about the honey hole? Yeah, I can see it. Jody. Yeah, the honey hole. I have no comment. I'm gonna keep moving. I do not think of the way you
Anytime anybody says that term, it kills me, and I'm like, why are you using that term, people? That does not sound appropriate at all.
Least favorite part is measuring. You need to get. I actually bought this. I spend too much on all these stupid things. They are write-offs, so I keep that in mind. But still, and now that I'm full time, I do have to be way more careful with my money. But least favorite part is measuring. I think that Tech and Sports contraption, his measuring ruler is great. I did order one. It was about $30. But yeah, measuring's a little tedious. But like in my process, I'm going to measure it before I photograph it. Write the measurements on the little whiteboard. Take a picture of that. Boom. Val says, I really don't care if people want the address. I'll give it to them. Well, don't give it out to everyone, Val. Just give it to me. Jody said yes. And Val said me. I'm people. All right, we are caught up on the chat. Don't know how long I'll stay that way. Jody said,
I was going to say, yeah.
You want to read
it? Sure. I cut the thrift store tags, lint roll, and measure all while photographing. So that's probably why I hate it. It's such a long process. Because what part are the pictures? Oh, because of all the steps. I get it. Yeah. Because it's all part of the pictures. Yeah. Instead of Val looks at it as measuring separate, but because
that's a good question. How many of you guys batch process versus doing it all together? Like for me, looks like Clay froze again. Val, Akisha said, how many listings on Poshmark? I think I'm at 1,400. 1,400 on Poshmark. About half are wholesale pieces. The other half are one-offs. There's Clay again.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah. By the way,
Val, I was going to ask. I'll watch some of it.
You want to share that with the audience, Clay?
What
Val saying?
Mr. Practical Mechanic, that's her boyfriend, Chadsworth, is going live tonight. Just thought I'd throw that out there. He's really good. Even if you don't know cars like me, ask a question and he'll make sure he answers it and he'll explain it. And he's like, he's just so nice and he knows so much. And all the guys in the chat, like it's, I watch it because I don't know, they do it twice a week, I feel like. And I've been watching parts of the whatever weekday and then the Saturday night to just try to learn some, because I'm just watching TV. So I figure I can kind of do both. But if
Oh,
you're
that's
into
good.
build, engines and stuff, check him out because he's got
Yeah.
all these great videos.
You want to put a link to his channel, or just as a Mr. Practical Mechanic? Just search Mr. Practical Mechanic.
Or isn't it just Practical Mechanic? Just Practical Mechanic, Val? Not Mr.
Right
Oh,
there,
there's
she
the
put the link.
stream.
Jody batches in 20. That's a good.
Wow, she's got 654. Dang, that's
You go, girl.
huge.
We're gonna get her up to
No
25.
wonder you got.
There's the link. Check out Mr. Practical Mechanic if you're into mechanical stuff. That's one of my weaknesses. I probably should watch and learn that. Like all my YouTube, most of my YouTube is spent on reselling, and I only watch a few channels, to be honest, anymore. I just don't, like, I've really cut my time down. I'm really focusing on growing my business. But I watch Daily Refinement. And Val and I, we were talking about this, like, what you learn reselling bolos on. I do watch Pure Hustle podcast. I was listening to their latest YouTube video while I was listing earlier. And there's a few, I have a lot that I subscribe to. Val's got a good channel. Jody's got a good channel. Just don't have time to watch lots of them anymore. The Practical Mechanic. Y'all check him out. What time is he going live tonight? Val batches in 35. That's a big batch. My house can't handle much more than that. Yeah, that's a big batch. I've been doing batches of 10, but I think once I get the light box, I'm really not going to batch. I'm gonna do the tethered camera. I'm gonna do listing at a time, and I'm gonna see how fast I can get that, and just have the bins. Like I've got behind me. You can't see, it's getting dark. Behind me, I've got my clothing ready to list. And then I'll have my bins and have all my stuff. I'm thinking measurements, photograph, SKU, plastic bag in the bin, next one, and just really work on the speed and cutting out wasted time. Yeah, Clay's been having bad connections. He watches Chad, Mel, Val. Notice he doesn't watch me. Some Daily Refinement and Pure Hustle podcast in Danica. Yep, good channels. 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Check out the Practical Mechanic. Akeisha can get her husband to watch. He's a car nut. That'd be the perfect channel for him. That'll slow things down. We'll see. We'll see, Jody. That's what Chris is doing, and he's getting 100 listings a day doing it that way. I think the key is the tethered camera to your computer, because I've already been using that, because your pictures are you take the pictures instantly saved in a folder on your computer. So you take the pictures, then you have your tab of sell similar, hopefully from your own closet, which I talked about earlier. If not, from someone else's. You create the listing, the pictures are there instantly, you upload them. Now, Tech and Sports does the camera with a memory card. But Chris and I, we were talking on his Patreon group. We think there's a little bit of dead time there from uploading it on the SD card to your computer versus being tethered, and it's already saved into your folder. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see, Jody. I don't know. Chris gets 100 a day doing it. We shall see. What's the most you've got in a day, Jody? That's what I'm curious about. So you're doing the batches, like what's your timing on that? No, Jody is not being open-minded. We shall see. No offense, Jody, but I'm going to trust Chris doing 50K a month. He says it works. I'm going to check it out at least before I make a decision. But Jody's really adamant about the batching. How do you batch when you take your? How do you do your pictures? Are you doing it on your phone or are you doing it on a camera, Jody? Clay says you don't make videos. I'll watch her. Oh, that's true. I don't really make videos anymore. I used to. I just do live. So fair point. Fair point. I don't want to spend the time making videos when I could be listing. Yeah, but Chris also lists on his own, and he himself said he did 100 by himself. 10 batches. Yeah, that's what I was doing when I was doing batches of 10. But Chris also listed those 100 items a day by himself. That's the difference. When he started working with Tech and Sports, I guess he felt challenged. I'm inferring that, and because Tech and Sports was doing 160 a day at his peak, and so Chris wants to see what he can do. Chris is up to 100 by himself in a day. Now he does have employees also. So does Tech and Sports, and Chris is talking about doing a. And he said he's not sure. Like he made that video, the 100,000 item eBay store, and we were talking on Friday's Patreon call, and he knows the headache. Like we were talking about the headache of managing that many people, and not sure if he really wants to do that, but it makes good content for YouTube, and he could do that. Goals, right? Akisha goals. All right, challenge yourself. Let's challenge ourselves. What can we do in a day or a week? Like I love setting goals and challenges. Like I hit a record for me, and I know it's not that impressive. What I say, 92. But guess what? I'm gonna try to break it next week. That's why I love goals. Yeah, I mean, I would just say be open-minded. I would say in general, batching is a really good way to do it, but with a tethered camera, I think it's definitely faster taking the pictures. So the question is, how are you taking your pictures? Like if you're doing it on your phone, the upload process, no matter how fast your internet connection is, it's not going to be as fast as that tethered connection directly from your camera. And keep in mind, the camera, like that's a 24 megapixel Canon T6i, so the pictures are better too. So I'm taking better pictures and faster. And I know for a fact it's faster than taking it on my phone, which takes good pictures, but the upload is that as fast as the tethered connection. We spent a whole show talking about it on the Patreon. Yeah, see that's where you're going to lose speed right there. Most I did photographing and listing is 304 days is amazing. That's 75 a day. That's hardcore, Jody. That's impressive. But I think the mindset is like it doesn't have to be a comparative thing. It's like Tech and Sports went over his whole listing the way he does it. Now I could do it exactly like he does, but I don't want to break my back. So I got a light box, and I'm going to take several of his elements, and I'm going to blend it to the way I want to do it because I don't want to break my back. Bending over doing flat lays, I'm using the light box. But I think that's what we need to do. We do need to be open-minded, and we do need to collaborate and brainstorm together, and then try different things out. Works best for our situation. Val says, what platforms? Currently eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. He was talking Friday about maybe just only doing eBay because he knows he could get more listings up that way. But personally, I like to be diversified. Something happened to your account, right? And then you're screwed. So I would like to have a couple of platforms myself. Jody says, but that was me doing absolutely nothing reselling related on day 3. Well, it's impressive, Jody, for sure. Like you killed it. Akisha says, I run my resale business from my cell only, use laptop to print only. Well, I guarantee you the tethered is faster with the photography and the uploads. I'm not. It's a matter of degrees, right? Like I've listed on my phone. I've done both. Like what I used to do is I would do the cell similar from my computer, the one I'm on in here, create the draft, save as draft, use my phone to take the pictures. The pictures would be uploaded to eBay. I was doing that photo background remover on the first pick on my phone, and that thing is slow. That is one thing I will say for sure. The background remover on your phone, eBay, it's slow. I mean, it would take 30 seconds. And then list it from my phone. Now, because I control the ISO through that camera, I can take a better picture. I don't have to edit it. The pictures go straight to my computer. So I'm probably saving a couple, even if it's just a minute per listing, over, if you're listing for 4, that adds up. That's more listings you can get up. And I don't know, maybe I'm becoming obsessed with how many listings I can. After talking to Chris in Tech and Sports, it's just really motivating. Val says, I take photos on phone. I used to list on phone, but I've been uploading photos and saving as drafts and finishing computer. All right, so you've been uploading photos on a camera, like on a memory card, Val, saving them as draft. Okay, so you take them on your phone, save it as a draft, and then finishing on your computer. That's not a bad way to go either. I was doing something similar. Hey, what's going on, Mike? Flipping goodies. 100 listings of what? Clothing and shoes. Clothing and shoes. We're talking about things you could scale. Now, like today, as I was going through the last of my hard goods, like I was doing a lot of book listings. Those are super fast. Some hard goods you can list super fast. But clothing, as we we're talking about, you got to do the measurements and get different angles, so it's not as quick as some hard goods. But yeah, clothing and shoes. Clay says, I think I could do a bunch a day if I could get the items and why I'm willing to buy from Chris or whoever, and I'll probably keep using Sellhound for a while so I can do more eBay, but keep the Uber up. Yeah, and Clay and I, we talk a lot, and this is Chris's recommendation to him, and I agree. And Chris, like before he became a big reseller, he was Ubering. He was talking to Clay about this, and he would set a daily goal for Uber. He would get up early, Uber, and I think his goal was $100 a day to pay his bills. And usually he would have that within 3 or 4 hours, and the rest of the day he would then focus on his reselling business. Now I don't want to speak for Clay, but I talk a lot to him. But Clay is trying to correct me. But Clay's trying to make as much money as he can Ubering. I think to get to a certain point where he can then do a little bit more reselling. But it's not exactly the same way. Like if Clay was doing it like Chris recommended, Clay would look at his bills and divide that out per day and set that goal for Ubering. Once he hit that goal on Uber, he shuts down Uber. He goes and does reselling. That's the way Chris did it. But each person's got to do it their own way. Jody says, I use phone for photographs, transfer over photos to computer. Yeah, but I'm just saying those 30 seconds, I don't take that 30 seconds on my camera that's tethered. It's instant. Adobe Lightroom. Now, I did do Lightroom, use the presets of the photos, and that is good. The photo Lightroom is good, but we were talking about this Friday. And Matt, who sells jeans, and he just got out of it. He's now doing wholesale. If you can eliminate the step of editing, and Matt got to the point he limited the step of editing by using the advanced options on the phone with the ISO and the aperture and different things. And I can definitely do that on that Canon. I'm shooting in manual mode, and I found at ISO 400 it gives me the white background. So I skip the step of uploading, the 30 seconds for uploading. I skip the editing, however many seconds that is. And it doesn't sound like a lot on one listing, but if you're doing 100 listings a day, that time adds up. But that is a pretty good setup. And I'm not saying it's a bad setup, Jody, but I'm just saying like that our approach is every day we're always, how can we save a little time here, a little time there? What do I need a perfect photo of a pair of jeans? Because here's another thing I do every day is to learn my brands better. I spend 20 or 30 minutes a day researching sods on different niches in clothing and shoes every day because I'm learning new brands. And as I'm doing that research, I'm also seeing most of those pictures aren't nearly as good as the ones I'm sure we're taking. So the point is, you don't need to take great photos to sell an everyday item pair of Levi jeans. You need good photos. And if I can do that without editing, and if I can save time by tethering and skip the step of editing, I'm able to get more listings up because I could source so much clothing that I would rather get more. And this is what Tech and Sports does. His photos aren't great at all. They're good. He doesn't edit. He focuses on getting as many items listed as he can. And which business is more successful? My little store, doing $300 a day gross, or his store doing $4,000 a day. So for me to say you're wrong, you need a better photo, you should edit. It's kind of foolish on my part to think that way. I should be learning from people that are doing better than me. That doesn't mean I'm gonna do everything. Like his whole idea of doing it a flat lay on a white rug and bending over and breaking his back, I'm like, well, I'd rather have a light box. So I'm not going to do everything he says, and I don't think everybody should do everything anybody says. But I think we got to be open and try to get a little bit better. I mean, I love that. I guess that's why I'm in the groups. I love that mentality. If you've read Atomic Habits, Val, I know we were doing the book club, which kind of fell apart. The Atomic Habits, that's all it's about, is developing the habits and the routines to get a little bit better and to be consistent. Man, I am fired up right now. Let's go list, guys. Jody says it's a few steps that you take in between. Be specific. What steps? I'm going to have all the clothes in a bin, right? I pull them out. I pull out, let's say, a pair of jeans, right? I pull it out on the table. I quickly measure it. And I've got his measuring tool. This is going to be quick. I write that down on the whiteboard. I take the photographs just like you would. They're saved instantly. I put the SKU number on the sticker, put it in the bag. I come over here. I sell similar. The photos are already there. I upload the photos. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll see how fast I can do, and I'll report back how it's going. But I don't know what steps. I'm actually cutting down on time because I'm not the 30 seconds the uploading. I've got the instant downloading of the photos. I'm cutting out the step of the editing. So I'm actually cutting out steps. I don't know what extra steps. And if I could batch, I could still take the pictures with the tethered. I could do 10, 20 at a time. They would all go to that same photo, right? And then I could then go through just like you're doing with batching and not editing and be faster. Val, I got the PHB 200 is the biggest one. Here, this thing, let me show. This is what Chris uses. I love buying this kind of stuff. I'll show you the one I got. All right. Now I already have this brand. Who ordered that? Somebody in the family ordered some safety goggles. And by the way, if you're interested in these light boxes, I have a link in the description. Havocs, like I use them on my shoe light box, which is this one. This is the one I take my shoes on. It takes good pictures. But for the clothing, it's this one right here. It's the HPV 200. Let me come down here. It's this one, and it discounted. Like I only paid like I paid like $350 for it, but I don't know why it only gives that one picture. This thing is like, oh, here we go. Here's more pictures. Okay, so here's the front, and here's the measurements. It's in the title. Yeah, so it's 47 wide by 32 deep by 78 tall. So it's like 6.5 feet tall. And so it's deep. So you put like Chris has a coat hanger in here in the back. And so you put it on here and you get that pure white background. You take your photos, your front and the back, get your close-ups, get your tag. I'm excited. I'm so excited about this thing. And I do have a link to it in the description if you're interested in taking your clothing game to the next level. All right, we'll see. I know Chris uses it. I've seen his videos. And I know the shoe box is really good. So Joe says, well, I mean, the most important thing after buying the right things, which is, yeah, buying low Well, yeah, buying low or buying in volume. I mean, you want to set your profit margin, right? Like some people won't pay $7 for something to sell for 30, but you can still make $15 profit. So I mean, yeah, generally you want to buy low, but I think more importantly is your profit margin is listing. So the more you can get listed every day, the more you'll make in a store. Yep, I agree with that, 100%. The more you can get listed per day, the more you're gonna make. We agree. Keisha says, trust me with appeals laptop to trust with my lap. Okay, I'm struggling. So I think Keisha's saying her phone's faster. Nothing wrong with listing with phones. I mean, phones are way better than they used to be, but a tethered connection, guys, is nothing faster. Because you eliminate the upload, and if you can get a better camera than you can a camera on phones. Now, cameras on phones are way better than they used to. So, and the question is, do you need that to sell clothing? No, you don't need a 24 megapixel camera to sell a pair of jeans, to be honest. I think for me, the more important factor is the tethered, saving time. Because my internet connection is not that great here. Clay said, yes, he made it and did it like 4 to 8 a.m. I just can't get up that early because I messed up my sleep. Ran over is really busy. I have to keep up and goals plus family stuff with me. Hey, you got to do what works for you, man. That's for everyone, right? We all give advice, but everybody's got to figure out what works for them. No excuse reseller. Many people have done 100 a day for many days in a row. Nicole State used to do that, and Chris and many others I have watched. Yeah. I think you do got to build up to it, just like the running metaphor. Like you're not going to do 100 a day to start with. It's a habit, it's a routine, and figuring out your process, getting it down. It's a mindset, right? Like a lot of people, oh, I hate listing. But if you think about it, say, I'm getting these listings up, it's going to make money. If you can get 100 up a day, average profits $15 per item. That's $1,500 a day. If you did that for 3 months consistently, you're going to be making $1,500 a day. And so if you think of it like that, it makes the listing a lot better. Keeping good quality with that many listings. Quality pictures, or what are we talking about? What type of quality, Val? I've seen one of those people's listen and it showed. Well, all right, here's the thing. All right, let's talk about sports quality. That great, Val. And I agree with you. That's how I used to think. And part of us, like in our group, we still kind of talk about that. But here's the thing. Even with just so quality, he's still selling $4,000 a day. So it's like you're weighing the quality of the pictures and the versus the time you spent. The higher that, like your quality, yours are amazing, and I agree. And I think as a professional, we take pride in having those great listings. But the truth is, how much more are you going to get for that listing with that great quality versus good quality, decent quality, but instead of getting 15 or 20 listings a day, you're getting 50 listings. And that's kind of the equation. And I right. And I think that's something we all got to grapple with. And if we could do both pictures or really good pictures really fast, and then you're killing it. Like I've decided I'm not going to edit anymore. And I don't know, with a tethered approach, it's a work in process. I'll have to report back and see how it goes. Jody says, what I do would only make sense doing batches. If I was doing one from start to finish, then my route would be whatsoever, just making that clear. Yeah. The way you're doing it, definitely, you got to do the batches. And that's what I was doing. When I was using my phone, I was batching too, right? Whether it's 10 or 20 or whatever number you're going to batch. And here's the other thing. When you batch, you got to be careful you don't mix up and there's ways around this where you don't mix up your pictures and your listings. When you do it one at a time, you eliminate that possibility as well. Clay says, Val, that's what I use Sellhound for clothes and shoes usually, so I can just trust them. Yeah, I think Sellhound's quality from what I've seen is better than Hammocks. Hammocks is okay, but I think if you're patient with your VA and you get a good one that can learn, eventually Hammock will be better. It's definitely cheaper, like $1.45 versus $2 on Sellhound for listing. But experience, and I've used both, Sellhound is better. Sellhound 5 to 80% of what a good lister would do. And Hammock, it probably depends on your VA. Like mine is just so. Maybe there's 65 to 70% of what I would do. Val said, for me, good photos, yeah. So, but then ask yourself, why is it a big deal, Val? It's a pride thing, right? How you sell something is how you get top. Okay, so let's do this equation, Val. And I know this is a hard concept. I'm not. How long does it take to create that top dollar listing, and how much more do you get for it with that top dollar listing, and how much time does that take? So it's an equation, right? You're getting X amount of dollars more per listing, but it's costing you Y amount of time per listing. What if you drop the quality of the listing, where let's say an item you're listing, top dollar you get 50, but with just good quality you get 40 for it. And that's even above the average 30, right? Because most items are probably selling in the $25 to $30 range. I think 90% of the items sell for under 30, right? So let's just say the 30. So top quality, you get 30, average quality, 25, right? But you're spending an extra 5 minutes per listing to get the top quality. Over an hour, if I just the good quality, maybe I'm able to get 4 or 5 more listings up. So in the net end, I mean, I'm in sports is making $4,000 a day and top dollar on any one item. But this is his philosophy. The thrift stores in the world is flooded with $30, $20 to $30 items, and it's more important to get as many of those up as you can versus trying to eke out a few extra dollars. So I don't know. I mean, it's working for him. But I think there is a pride element to it. Like your pictures are amazing. Your listings are amazing too. And I guess if that really makes you happy, getting the best listing up and you're still making good money, and if that's what's more important to somebody, then that has to be factored in. That's why we're all different. So I would disagree. Tech and Sports, look at his store. His photos are not beautiful. He makes $4,000 a day. Disagree. Will you make a little bit more money with beautiful pictures? Yes. But if you have the volume, if you're putting up 250 items a day listings, you don't need beautiful photos. You just need good photos. Hard goods, yeah, hard goods are totally different. Clay said hard goods, I used to sell some anything I didn't look up. Yeah, with hard goods, like especially electronics, it's easier. You can look up model numbers. I think hard goods are easier as far as that end. Let's see. Jody says I sold a Taylor Swift for 50 on Posh. Others had only listed for 20 fun, bought mine, so the other 4, which I'm not saying that photos don't matter the quality. I'm just saying big picture that a good photo. I mean, and I'm not saying a bad photo. Like I've seen. The truth is, most people they have horrible photos, right? Your average person on Reseller, the pictures are horrible, but you could take a photo. I don't know. I would just say in the big picture, right? Spending a couple of minutes editing to get the perfect photo is not a good use of time in general. And a Taylor Swift hoodie for $50. I don't know. We'd have to see the pictures, but then we also got to look at it big picture, right? In the big picture, that $25 extra is nice, right? But if someone is able to list 100 items and one listing 15, the person listing 100 items a day, good photos, is going to make way more money than someone making great photos of 15 items. That's just the truth. So I'm not saying photos don't matter. I'm just saying we got to be careful and not get too caught up that we're slowing down our listing speed. Val says, I'm excited. I'm not even the one getting it. Are you talking about the light box? Yeah, I'm so stoked. Close hate me and I hate them. I used to think that way, but what's your goal? You just want to make money. What's the most? And you can the niches. There's not one good or bad. Like I've made money doing all the different types of reselling. Just wanting to scale it. I guess I'm just looking at Chris in tech, and I agree with the premise that what's the most abundant thing? It's clothing, and so much of it. So if you can get to the point where you can list that stuff in bulk, you can sell. Mine, they had a promotion. I got it for like I think it was $360. Yeah, it's expensive, but then here I did the math, Jody. I'm like, it was taking me 15, 20 minutes. And here we'll go do your photos matter, right? 15, 20 minutes to set up, minutes to take down because I don't have a permanent spot where I can take photographs. I don't have good in my house. I don't have a good spot. So I was wasting about 40 minutes a day, and my photos were just pretty good because of what the stuff I was having to use to take them. So yeah, I paid $360 for that light box, but my photos are going to be great. I'm not going to have to edit them, and I'm going to be able to get up way more listings. So that should pay for the light box. I did the calculations. I think in a week and a half, the improved listings and the number of listings should pay for that light box. But see, and that's the wrong. I think that's the wrong mindset. If it does it improve your photographs quality? I mean, according to you, photos matter, so it will. Does it increase your listing speed? It will. So will that make you more money? It will. Will that pay for the light box over time? It will. Will then that make you more money in the long run? It will. But that's just the way I look at things. I look at things with more of the long term aspect. Clay says, Jody, I don't have a room. If I wanted it, I want a light box. That's all right, Clay. I'll rent it out to you. Give me some of that Uber money. Couldn't you make this out of cardboard? You go ahead and we'll compare, Jody. Maybe you could. That's not my skill set. And once again, it's a write-off. You can write that off your taxes. It's a deduction. I'm not that talented creating things. My light box would look horrible. I want a good one. Valis, unless you made it out of. And then how long? Let's think about this. Here. Let's go back to Jody's comment. I'm gonna have to get off here in a few minutes, guys. I need to go make some chicken wings. How long would it take you to make the light box? And what would the quality of the light box be versus you buy a good quality light box hours and probably a crappy light box? Like those hours, if it took me 2 hours to make the light box, I could get 20 items listed in 2 hours at least. I'm just ballpark, which would make me, even if I did $15 profit per item times 20, there's $300. So that 2 hours, I'm making $300. So it's pretty much a wash. And I know I have a good quality light box in Brian's crappy cardboard light box. So maybe if you're really talented, do it quickly, it would make sense. For me, it wouldn't. Exactly, Val. Paulie's not going to be there. No, let us know. Try it out, Jody. I'm going to stick math on the light box. No excuse, reseller. Draft all my items and take photos on my phone. I almost my upload right into the draft on eBay app and finish on eBay app. Upload super fast. Yeah, I like the not editing. I mean, don't get me wrong. The uploading is fast. And this is how nitpicky we are. But even if you save 10 a listing over thousands of listings, it just adds up. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that's a good process. We're constantly looking to shave time and get more listings up. All right. If it makes me $420 in a week, is that insane? And the fact that I can write it off my taxes, yeah. Each to their own. You build your cardboard box. I'm gonna roll with this box, and we'll see in a few months how it works out. But also, when I first started, I tried to make a do-it-yourself shoe photo box out of a thick poster board. Yeah, not the best. Yeah, like the quality of that Havoc's light box for my shoes. That was one of the better investments I made. The quality of my shoe photos is so much better, and I sell a lot of shoes. I'm that investment. I look at it as an investment. That investment in the box paid for itself a couple of weeks at the most. I think it's a mindset. And like you said, you've got like 4 different streams of income. So reselling isn't as big of a deal for you as it is for me. Like for me, reselling is my whole income right now. So I've got to make it work. I use white styrofoam board for my flat lays and glue this stuff. Yeah, I did that at the beginning too. And there's nothing wrong this is what I say, when you're first starting, do what you got to do. Stuff will right. If you're using white cardboard, white poster board, and natural light, the stuff is still going to sell. It's just not. But as you make more money, you can invest that to improve the quality, and more importantly, to improve the speed. So I think you need to reinvest some of that money. I mean, if you look at what is it, BFA, the big seller on eBay, they have this crazy. It's like a $40,000 machine that takes perfect photos, but they're doing such volume and it makes sense. And so they bought it. So as you scale up, it makes certain sense to invest at a certain point. Keisha needs to upgrade her laptop. That's what I'm taking from that. Jody said, been using the same piece that I got a year ago, though, so I guess it was worth it. Question like $10. I don't know what that means, but I would always ask yourself, I don't know. If that works for you, Jody, that's great. But I'm doing the light box, and we'll see how that works for me. Val said, if you had a place that it could stay up permanently, maybe thicker with cloth and lights inside. Well, and this light box is going to be permanent. So for me, I'm not going to have to waste. That was the most important thing. The photo quality is going to be better, but the most important thing was the 40 minutes a day. I've been 20 minutes to set it up. I have to take my white photography paper and lay it on the table. I have to take my 4 ring lights and set them up. I have to move all of my supplies in there. It was taking me 15 to 20 minutes to set up, and then probably another 15 to put all that stuff back up. And so I was wasting 30 to 40 minutes a day. And if you resell 6 days a week like I do, I'm wasting 3 to 4 hours a week. 3 to 4 hours a week at 10 listings an hour, that's 40 listings I could get up an hour on the time I was spending setting up and taking down. That's why I say everybody has to look at their own situation. Plus, the quality of the photographs is going to be better. So to me, it was a no-brainer. But each person has to look at their own scenario. Oh my gosh, why can I never catch up? Let me try to catch. I think I'm gonna catch up, then we're gonna end the show. Yeah, definitely could make something for like 10% of price. All right. Well, Jody, I think these and sell them. That's what I'm seeing. There's a market for resellers wanting this. If you can make one at 10% of the price, that could be a new business for you. Well, it's all relative. If it saves you time and makes better pictures, it's a win to me. If it's not going to be great quality, it needs to be extra good quality. A certain lady listing her, they weren't good photos. They sold because of her following. Yeah, but here's the thing: Tech and Sports, he didn't even have a following. He didn't have a social media presence, and he's listing 160 a day. And we've looked at his store, and his pictures are just good. It's just the way he says he's got 25,000 hooks in the ocean, so he's going to sell things. I think Val. I don't know about her. Yeah, if you do have a big social media following, obviously that's an unfair advantage, definitely. Clay said, I bought the 24/24 Havoc black box when I started so I could get top picks. The cost hurt, but it was worth it. I agree, Clay. Sometimes you got to invest in stuff. As long as the photos turn out with pure white background lighting, probably that's all that matters. Yeah, I mean, that's great, Joe. If you can get those really good photos cheap, I mean, I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I couldn't do that with my setup. And so I'm going into some, I feel like we're having a presidential debate here. I'm just saying for me, it makes sense to have this light box. If somebody can get great photos cheaper, obviously nobody wants to spend $350, but for me, it's saving time and it's taking better pictures. I know the Havoc slap box, which I paid whatever that was, like $250 or $300 a year and a half ago. Great investment. Val says I do like my shoe photo box. Exactly. That's my point. It paid it off with 6 pairs of shoes. That's the point. These are investments that will pay for themselves. We're not saying just go throw money away. I mean, if you look at all businesses, they invest. BHFO, they have like computer robots that go pull their inventory. I'm sure somebody could have said, man, you spent $20,000 on this stupid robot. You could just have somebody go get it. It's cheaper. But they did it more accurate. It's going to pull the items more accurately, more efficiently, and more. So as companies grow, they invest in things that are going to make it better for them. I don't know why we're arguing this, but if somebody doesn't want to do that, then they don't have to. Clay said, I've started to delete pics from phone once I list drafts on them. I don't get, yeah, delete them. To talk in therapy about your pictures. Yeah. I think about the artist, like there is like the subjective part of like an artist or something. There's pride in that, and I get that, and are beautiful. Right? Like how much more time does it take you to take those amazing pictures? I guess that it's an equation, right? And I think the people selling $10 are taking crappy photos. I don't think any of us resellers are taking crappy photos, right? So I think we got to not compare to crappy photos. We're comparing between good to great. And then what's the difference between good to great? And then how much time, like if you've got it down where you can take great photos and get the top dollar, like that's what I want to do. That's what my light box is. I'm not looking to take mediocre photos. I've got a freaking Canon T6i here, takes great photos, takes better than cell phone photos. And all I'm saying is I am paying for the light box. It's gonna be that white background. I adjust the ISO. I don't have to edit. I'm still going to have really good to great photos that are going to be fast. That's all I'm saying. And so don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying photos aren't important, but I'm also saying I guess the confusion is you can look at an example of Tech and Sports who just has good photos and lower end on the good side, I would say, but he does such volume and he's so fast that he's making more than all of us combined making a day. So, I mean, there is truth to that too. Joey says, once the area is set, you're set. Taking the photos will take the same time once you have the area all set. Yeah, but I'm wasting time setting up and I'm wasting time. Whereas if I had a dedicated workspace, like I'm not wasting that 30 or 40 minutes. You're just focusing on the time on photos. I'll look at your whole day. I mean, that's what we do in the Patreon group. I have a schedule mapped out so that 30 minutes a day is wasted. 30 minutes a day, I could get X amount of photos up listed with a dedicated spot. That's the way I look at it. I mean, once again, Jody, everybody can look at things how they want. Also, as long as you constantly listing, there's no waiting for sales. You constantly, exactly. You got to get the listings up. Taking good photos requires good lighting, white background, decent phone camera. Why not take good photos? I agree, but you're missing out on the time factor. And the setting up and the taking down. Akisha, I batch listings, not fixed. Do not want any incomplete listings. Clay said I still make the first big eBay or photo views. I was doing that, Clay. And I mean, I think I don't know why we're arguing. I agree. The first pick needs to be good. All I'm saying is with my camera now, that first pick, I can get that white background through the camera settings. And so I don't have to take that extra 30 seconds to a minute to get that Photo Fuse or eBay app, because it is slow. In 30 seconds to a minute, much for one listing, but on 100 listings, it adds up. But also just think of how much. Yeah. Yeah. Like I think he could improve the quality of his photos. As long as he can do that and not waste time, or not much waste time. It's an equation, right? It's a balancing act. But on the other hand, if you're spending too much time getting the best photos, but instead of getting 160 good photos, if you're only able to get 80 really good photos, the 160 good photos are going to make you more money than the 80 great photos. So it's an equation. Name brand is greater than photos. Usually. I did, but, and Val, I know you had a video on this, and I agree. If you know your style, I sold like a no-name pair of Chukka boots for like $60 because the style was on point. And I took a really good photo to show that. I took good photos to show that. But in general, yeah, your brands are more important than the photos. But I'm going to turn the flip on you. You can have whatever the brand is, you can still take good. Yeah, and ultimately that's true, right? Like, for example, if you can find Nintendo Switches, it don't matter what your photos are like, as long as you can show the product. If the thing you're after is sought after enough, your photos become less relevant. Now, if you're selling something with a flooded in a flooded niche, then you need to stand out a little bit. Yeah, if you're limited inventory on listings, then yeah, then your photos need to be better. Val said, also, as a YouTuber that talks reselling, I would feel so embarrassed if my closet wasn't as good as it could be. I agree with that to a point, but at the same point, if I was making $4,000 a day, it wouldn't be. I'll be like, hey, y'all keep y'all's great photos. I'll take my good photos and my $4,000 in my pocket. And that's what I think it comes down to, Val. Like, you take a lot of pride, and don't get like, I think my photos are good. I don't think I would be selling what I sell if I don't take bad photos. I don't think I do. Clay says, I can't hold a lot more at my apartment with cities because keep shoes and clothes all there. I guess more kitchen cabinets are going to be used. Right. All right. I'm glad Jody and I could agree. Yep. Listing makes sales. Yeah. Well, if 20 seconds gets you $20 more, then definitely take that. I will agree on that. For sure. Equation. I would say the equation wouldn't make sense if you're taking 5 minutes to make an extra couple bucks, though. But ideally, we want the best of both, right? And that's what I'm going for: speed and really good picks. Val says, I like selling vintage, but that really slows me down. It's hard to find comps. All right. Now, what Tech and I, we talked a lot on the Thursday night call about this. And this is what I realized. I'm spending way too much time doing the research comps, right? So if you're going to find something that takes, if you're spending looking up solds, like Tech and Sports is cranking out a couple of listings in those 10 minutes. And that's something I struggle with too. And I told him that, like, I was, and not only that, like, I was spending too much time trying to find comparing condition and to get the exact price, but I was wasting like 10 minutes on a listing where I have Snap Seller Tool, which gives me the average price. Why don't I just trust that, save that 10 minutes, and get more listings up? That's what I realized. He helped me realize that. And I think that's something to keep in mind. Now, once again, you got to weigh that out, right? If you got a vintage T-shirt that's worth $100 or more, then it's not going to hurt you to spend the 10 minutes. But if you're spending 10, 15 or longer researching an item that's going to sell for 25 or 30, then I don't think that's a good balance. Might be something I can, yeah, I think keep that in mind, right? And we were talking about learning niches and brands, Val. I think that's going to be real important for us. Like I learned about jeans, and like bread and butter Levi's and like Old Navy. Some Old Navies have a good, decent sell-through rate, and they're so abundant. It's 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 learning our niches. Yeah, Sellhound will give you a discount, and they also do like they had like a Halloween promotion, uh, where you can definitely get a discount. I agree. Yeah, I'm about done. Let me wrap this up. All right, I think. All right, I got to catch up real quick, and I got to shut the show down. People are getting hungry at my house. Jody said, let's be real. We're really comparing two separate sections, both of which are required to make a living or sell. We all need to source. We all need to list. We all need to research. Yeah, you do, but you constantly should be looking at ways to be more efficient in those areas to make more money. That's my thesis. Yeah, I agree. The better we do it. Yeah, but once again, you got to factor in time, the time spent on each one. You get, and each listing is separate, right? Like we are talking about. And no, none of us on all three sections. I agree. Let me know how that light box goes, Val. Yeah, that would be a great video, Val. There you go. That would make sense if it creates content. Or a light box refrigerator. That's funny. All right, do it. Make a video on it, Jody. Light box challenge. Yeah. Sure. I don't know what my part is. Um, Showing you my light boxes is made up in my listing process, maybe. But yeah. And then you also got to factor in how long it takes you to make that light box too. Jody doesn't need a light box. Oh my God, Jody, you're gonna melt my brain. It's the time savings. The time savings and the better photos. I've went over so many times how I waste time setting up based on my situation, setting up and taking down my photo area for clothing. Because I can't leave it out as a dedicated place. My wife would kill me. So I'm wasting that time every day. So it makes sense not to waste that time, to use that time to list on the light box that I'm buying. And by the way, the light box I'm buying will make much better pictures, just like my shoebox did, versus not using it. So the quality of the pictures and the time saved equals money. I'm not sure why this is hard to understand. I need to come on one of Chris's calls. You can really chat expert. Yeah, the time, it comes down to time savings. If you're trying to do volume, now, like I think that's the difference, Jody. Like reselling is not your big thing, so you're not trying to get 100 items listed a day, like I want to get to. Yeah, thanks for dropping by, Keisha. I'm about to go too. Clay says, you know what he means, Lee, right? The worst case, it sells in one paper. That's how I looked at it for me. It's been 2 weeks worth of, yeah, thanks, Clay. Maybe I'm not explaining it well. Yeah, if you get good natural light is great, but you can't count it consistently. In my house, I don't have a spot that gets it all day. Or what if you want to list at nighttime? Well, you did a great job with that, Joe. Each to their own. Ultimately, everybody's got to make their own. Oh my God, am I that far back on the? Oh my gosh, I'm at 16 minutes back. All right, I got to blow through this. I'm not going to read them unless because I'm so far behind. You guys are blowing up the chat. Bye, Akeisha. Well, I'm breast. Yeah, but the only thing I would say is it would pay for itself, Jody. That's all I'm saying. You would earn back that money plus more in the future. No, he's at eBay. He has 25,000 items in his eBay store. The guy started on his own. Used to dig ditches. The dude's insane. Like he would work 20-hour days for years. Like I don't want to go that insane. Don't get me wrong. Yep. Nothing wrong with talking things out. Yep, there you go. I like it. Smartphone paid off with Uber Eats. And smartphones do take good photos. It's just the time to upload it versus tethering. All right, Jody, you are being obnoxious right now. That's funny though. I do want a better mattress, getting better sleep. Yeah, I'll keep you informed. No excuse, reseller. I mean, I know it work. I know it works. That's exactly what daily refinement. That's what Chris is doing. Check out his videos. I mean, it's working for him. So I think in life you want to find people that are successful in general, and basically just copy them. Well, I know no one's watching. I thought this ended when my internet crashed. So thank you, Clay, for telling me it didn't. I am going to see the chat I missed real quick, and then I'm going to end this. All right, let's see. No one's watching, so I'm just reading the last comments. Yeah, anybody that's watching this, I will do this. Probably, yeah, we'll do this more often. It was good. It was good catching up. Yeah, ended prematurely. It wasn't my fault. Technical difference. Sorry, Val. Yeah, check it out. He melts brains. Yes, that is funny. Oh. Ask me about my photos. Oh my gosh. I'm reading them all. Thanks for playing the outro music. That's funny. Stupid internet. That's why I have to be tethered. My internet connection's so unstable. Yeah, thanks for coming by, guys. Will do, Jody. I don't hate you, man. That's funny. Here, go make chicken wings up. All right, thanks for coming by, everyone. Have a good night. Check out the 7 Sticks Reseller Facebook group. We do our Monday mastermind calls. If you stuck around this long, links in the description. Have a good night, Al. I'm out. Peace.